Welcome back to a brand new series. It's going to be another TVZ in the top left. Unfortunately, already knocked out of contention for that top three. It is the red Zerg, soO. In the bottom right as the blue Terran, he is uThermal. If he wins this series, he will definitely be in top three. soO is just playing for the extra $200 and the honor and glory of taking down another top-tier pro StarCraft II player. Those cheering for Scarlet, well, it's not looking so good. Deer went on to win his matches, and Scarlet did not. I don't know what scenario actually exists for Scarlet to advance, even if she were to 2-0 Bunny and 2-0 soO. Putting her at a 3-2. Well, if uThermal loses this match. Okay. Well, I did it. I mathed it out, guys. I guess if that happens. But will it? Will it, though? uThermal had some pretty strong TPZ against Scarlet, just really reading her and her builds like a book. soO is going to definitely be a different type of Zerg player, but actually it might be easier for uThermal. soO did play Ling Baneling Muta against, what was it, Bunny? Yeah, Bunny. But he also has been playing some Roach games. We'll see what he chooses to do. He's not out, it's very likely that he's out. Okay, yeah, okay. Go ahead and just say that he's out, though. Simpler that way. I do think it's a little more interesting to talk about the chances for Scarlet. Bunny and Deer. They're doing a little bit better. Anyhow. Reaper's gonna scout. Everything is Gucci. Doesn't actually scout the... Pardon me? Nope, doesn't actually scout the third base. Which is taken in the off location for this matchup. Most Zerg players take it over here. Some Terran and Protoss players are supposed to take it where soO is taking his, but yeah, 9 times out of 10. It's been this base. Still figuring it out, though. I think Cyber Forest is one of those maps that you could see it kind of waddle back and forth, be personal preference. But a Hellion opener, a strict Hellion opener. uThermal did have his own interesting builds against Scarlet. And this is just Hellions and Medevac now on the way in there is that armory. So one of the older school ways of doing a Hellbat push with the Marines included Medevac for the very simple healing process. And then perhaps falling up into Banshee. I don't know if you guys were watching that TY soO series, but in TY's interview, he said, well, I think when I adapted to play mech in the next 2 games, those are the ones that I won. I think that's what really got me the victory, was adapting and changing to mech, and that messed up soO. Elaborating, of course, but that's the gist of it. So uThermal is probably watching that series as well. Probably listening to the interview, too. And if he goes in a mech, I'm going to say that's 100% why he does it. Otherwise, uThermal is still, in my mind, very much so a bio player. There's a couple of Marines here. You can't really get more than 4, and this is just 3. Gonna find an Overlord. soO's Roach War not quite done. He will have a decent number of Lings in just a second. No, actually, I have more than this. Nope, he's gonna have a terrible number of Lings. The Queens are getting the chip damage done, though, as they should with every creep spread they're allowed. They did barely save that Overlord, which would have supply blocked soO at a pretty bad time when his Roach War was finished. It's actually kind of important. Another Overlord pops out, though. The Hellbat's trying to trade with the Lings, and this is so far pretty masterful handling of the situation. This is when that we can see the differences of the Medevac versus Banshee-type Hellbat play. If there's a Banshee, the Queens have already had to retreat back into the Spore Crawlers, but without it, we're just talking about good focus fire from soO, and uThermal trying his best to micro it. Actually did a pretty nice job. Was able to get a forward Hellbat drop on top of the units and even still save the Medevac, so nicely done. But now it's crunch time, man. He sees the Roaches, and soO actually moving across the map with them making more. Only at 40 workers, uThermal would be fine if this is just a purely economic game. But soO, I was talking about supply caps earlier, he is severely supply blocked right now. 4 more overloads are on the way. And that will be fixed soon, but this could have been a Ling swell a lot faster. a lot faster. uThermal doesn't have a wall off. He's trying to hold here with the Hellbats, buying as much time as possible, but even with the clumped up roaches, Hellbats simply don't do very well. He's got to hold the natural for a little while longer. He should probably actually, there we go, pull the SCVs, hold up in the main base, because his tank is about 75% done, and maybe, just maybe, he can hold the supply depots until that's out. That would go a very long way, but he's not repairing the supply depots. He has to give up SCVs now, so he doesn't lose a ton of SCVs later. He does have some SimCity on his side, and it looks like soO is not going to dive for that tank despite having the corrosive biles. And he is just going to accept taking down a bunch of supply depots, lifting that command center. SCVs go down in total. Not that brutal. This is not a situation where soO also got the cancel on the third CC. He's actually facing another 2-base build from uThermal on this map. He did this versus Scarlet, but it very much so felt like a reaction to the Spire here, just to build. Oh gosh, ooh, the ramp. He's trying to break the ramp now, but the SCVs come forward. And that was a long pause on the ramp for the tank to get maximum damage done, but the SCV count is just in the gutter now as soO recommits to the attack. It is going to work out in his favor, so while he is up against eventually some decent production, it wasn't enough to hold against this attack, and uThermal is going to take the first loss. He doesn't want to admit it, though. But he's definitely dead. No, he's not going to tap out. That's sub 30 supply. And yet he still thinks he might have a chance. He does have Stim finished. He would have loved to have started combat shields already. He's got a tank defensively for any follow-up pushes, but soO behind this. So many drones were popped out during that attack. He's got a 4th base on the way, a lair. I mean, uThermal, what is he really expecting here? Well, uThermal does have some pretty nasty drops sometimes. This is such a big gap. I mean, if this was the case that uThermal was like, you know, already down a game and he was really worried about his results in the group, which he should be if he loses versus soO, but it's not the most dire. Then, yeah, you know, in it to win it, but in game number 1, I actually would have expected him to, okay. I would have expected him to tap out. GG. Too powerful of a follow-up push. Deals with the Hellbats, comes across the map. Couple supply box be damned. Oof. Game number 2 is going to be on Port Alexander. soO going for the 3-base Roach attack. Roach Ravager Lings. If uThermal had a faster tank, if he had a wall held, the natural longer, maybe. So that's supposed to be no match history? Oh well, I'm not in charge. Ah, well. You attack me, I attack you. The top left. Going for a proxy Rax. Or 2. Maybe even 3. It is going to be a uThermal. In the bottom right, as the red Zerg, it is soO. I mentioned this, I guess, in the Scarlet series, that uThermal is totally capable of throwing out his own aggression. Didn't have to. And now feeling it'd be an awfully good idea against his opponent on this map, in this scenario. He might be right. soO is sending an Overlord to the north. Trajectory kind of looks like it'd miss the barracks, though. Just barely, but it would. It is going to be a hatch and then gas pool. So uThermal is so far getting, I mean, everything he wants from the start of this game. We'll see how the micro goes down. Oh my god. He's actually getting gas with this. That's very fast. So not really committing very much. No third barracks, which but for a time there was actually the more popular version. And now back to the 2 racks and the pretty quick follow-up of the factory. But he is still going to use the SVs to build some bunkers. Still wants to get that hatchery killed in best case scenario. And this is something that soO does not see. He did not see the SCV, I don't believe. He didn't see the barracks. He can't see the bunker building with the building hatchery. He's still building drones. This is exactly what uThermal wanted to have happen. His SCV is going to dip into the main base and see that they... oops, wrong vision. Won't see everything he wants, actually. And then he could even maybe keep it a little bit longer and see if it's a roach reaction, which is exactly what soO throws down. I do believe, in general... Oh, this is a really nice play. In general, soO does prefer the roach reaction to the 2 racks. This is really nice to go ahead and steal the gas. He'll have to cancel that shortly, but that's still a delay. I like it. And because uThermal is not committing a whole ton to this, he will have the option of the factory tech behind it by the time the roaches pop out, get across the map. Hopefully he'll have a tank ready to go, because now he knows he should get a tank. Even setting down a second bunker before the creep's ready could get sent out too much. It's only 1 for now, and with this many lings, queens, and even drones being pulled here, soO is going to break it. Where's the target fire? It is on the drones a little bit. This bunker is not going to be able to get up here as the SCV is sniped. Let's grab a queen from this, but not going to find it. It turns out that soO doesn't need that damn roach warren. Cancels it, doesn't care about the gas. Has his drones off of the gas here, and soO adapting to the situation very well. uThermal goes into, as he realizes so many damn lings, he goes into a reactor, which is a good call. Now scouting with his barracks. He's going to try and go what he can for the main base, but it's not going to be a whole ton. Canceled bunker, and further scouting done by the barracks. Last time uThermal looked, there was a roach warren, and it's possible that it is still done. Just not being used. We already know that speed's done. Speedling's going across the map. Hellion should be popping out on the correct side over here. No baneling nest, so he doesn't have to worry about being broken. Here comes the 3rd CC. He's going to have to spend some time repairing because these Hellions weren't super on time. The barracks sees, as I said, not a lot of threat. Just a simple repair, and the game does go on. But that wasn't as absolutely like cool, brutal as it could have been for uThermal. I really liked the gas steal against someone who does typically go roaches. It was still a 2 racks that didn't just kill the Terran player, right? Like, he actually gets ahead in workers temporarily, and then soO goes back on a drone and gets a 3rd base, and we'll see how the mid-game looks. But soO did hold without too many drone losses, without that much lost mining time, just immediately went back into mining once he realized the bunker was going to be finished. And I would be a little more scared for uThermal. I've seen worse 2 raxes, though, come back in the mid-game. Decent Hellion run-bys, good drops later on if they go into bio. Perhaps they just actually stay very turtly and defensive with mech. What is uThermal's choice? He's going to go for a medevac. Is he going to add on an armory? He goes for stim. So just going to go for a Hellion drop and then maybe just patrol around with Marines in the medevac after that. Viking's going to clear out the Overlord, so soO isn't going to be absolutely certain as to what his opponent's doing. Did not see the barracks of the tech lab. Didn't see the tech lab lighting up, I guess, in this case. Zerg buildings wiggle jiggle. Terran buildings get flashy, I guess. Roach Warren once again for soO. This is what he was doing against Innovation in Lima League, just over and over and over again. Roach, 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 roach. But mixing it up between his Terran opponents and IEM, it's roaches against uThermal, and uThermal is going to want to scout that. He's also going to do a ton of damage to these Hellions. If these Hellions can get like 10 drone kills, which is possible, but unlikely, and that could be a good road to recovery. soO already has Lings in position, going to stop the drop from even happening in the first place. uThermal adding on some more Lings is probably what soO wanted to see. So while there was going to be a tank just in the nick of time, it might be possible for him to break open the natural wall, at least if the command center delayed / canceled. Here come the drones, and oh, that timing though. soO pulling the Lings away, opens up his main base to the drop, but good split, very good reaction there, loses 6 drones. Not too bad. The medevac, though, is still very healthy, and poor Alexander with so much dead space in the... Oh my god, look how much dead space there is. Yeah, it's going to come back for more damage later on. Now, soO is droning beyond these roaches, so there's not going to be a Ling flood. 24 Lings are on the way. That's where you actually need Hellions back on this side of the map. The tank's only halfway done. He has no idea this attack is on the way. He never saw the roach warren to the front. Nothing was there to scout the roaches that were coming across the map, and he does not have any Banshees to give him some freebie defense here. A couple Lings, and then there's the reveal of the roaches. He's got to pull everything to the main base, I would say. Holding the natural seems very dangerous. But maybe he can do it. The supply depot is just now going down. Protobal is used to do that as well. He's going to hold the line with SCVs here. The tank is getting on top of those roaches, but here come the Lings. The Hellions still in the natural base, actually, looking for a lot of drone kills to even up the workers. But holding the natural might have been the wrong call. The tank does go down. His SCVs are killed in the natural anyways. His third CC has to be canceled anyways. But if he had the tank on the high ground, then maybe if he had pulled the SCVs, maybe he still has a better SCV count to work with. But the tank even pops on top of the Ravagers, gets one, but then dies. And that's really it for uThermal's army. These Hellions are not going to make up for what he has taken in losses, and that's going to be another game loss for uThermal. This was the matchup. This was the chance for him to really fight back and secure his position in the advancement in the top 3, but instead he takes a swift 0-2 against soO. So he's not giving up yet, man. He wants the $200. GG. And I guess if the stars really are aligning, maybe soO has a chance, but we're kind of counting him out. GG!